Hello, and welcome to Examining the Functions of Family Through Time with me, Sheila Seth. Today's topic is families through time. I will be focusing on three families that are different from one another, but have some similarities. The three families are the Hunter-Gatherer Society, the contemporary family of the 1940s to the 1950s, and the social institution families. In each family group, I will be telling you about the 6 functions of each family. The functions are addition of a new member, physical care and maintenance, socialization of children, behavior control, affective nurturance, and production and distribution. Let's begin.
The ancient hunter-gatherers lived in small groups, normally of about 10 or 12 adults plus children. They were regularly on the move, searching for nuts, berries, and other plants, which usually provided most of their nutrition, and following the wild animals which the males hunted for meat. Addition of new member. It is a common practice among hunter-gathering societies to assign different classes of men and women. These separate assignments go far beyond what is required by the difference in size or strength between men and women, or the need of women to carry and nurse infants. In fact, some jobs are thought of as masculine in one society and feminine in another. There are certain generalizations, however, that are almost universal among hunters and gatherers. Because of their roles as childbearers, women in these societies are essential to survival, therefore had relatively high status within the group. The emphasis on fertility had religious meaning for hunters and gatherers. The one thing that women alone do is produce life from their own bodies. Women were responsible for the maintenance and care of children in the village and the family. Physical care and maintenance. Each group had a large territory over which it roamed, large because only a small proportion of the plants in any given environment were suitable for people to eat, and these came into fruit at different times of the year, meaning a large area of land was needed to meet the food needs of a small number of people. Everywhere they traveled, men hunt large land and water fauna, trap small animals, hunt birds, build boats, and work with wood, stone, bone, horn, and shell. Women gather fuel, food, fetch water, prepare drinks and vegetables, and cook. Male activities may require long absences from home and travel over great distances not possible for women burdened with children. Male tasks may be dangerous because men do not bear or rear children and may be more highly valued in order to motivate the expendable male to perform them. Socialization of children, affective nurturance, production, and distribution. The children learn from their parents. Driven by the daily quest for food, both men and women worked full-time in search of it. While small bands of men followed the larger wild animals, women gathered grains, seeds, nuts, fruits, eggs, grubs, small animals, and insects. In addition, women learned how to use the plants they gathered for medicinal purposes. Men were responsible for hunting and weapon making. On many occasions, they had to leave home for a long period of time to hunt for the family. To make the capture and kill easier, they had to tire out the larger animals and would pursue them for days. Therefore, children would go without their father for a long period of time. Women's work was steady and regular. Men's work was more spectacular but less reliable. In a society that lacked the means of preserving food, gathering was more reliable than hunting.
Okay, so far I've told you about the Hunter-Gatherer Society. They mainly relied on hunting and gathering, because that was the main way they knew how to survive, and also the only way they knew how to survive. And as for behavior control, I believe the mother would be the one to discipline the children if needed, because the fathers would be away hunting all the time. But I also believe that they were quite peaceful and didn't worry too much about disciplining the children. Okay, let's continue to the other families. Addition of new member, effective nurturance, production and distribution. Young males returning to the United States and Canada following tours of duty overseas during World War II began families, which brought about a significant number of new children into the world. In 1946, 3.4 million babies were born, 20% more than in 1945. This was the beginning of the so-called baby boom. In 1947, another 3.8 million babies were born, followed by the 3.9 million in 1952, and more than 4 million were born every year from 1954 until 1964. When the boom finally slowed down, there were 76.4 million baby boomers. However, because of the changing economy, new things need to be built, like houses and apartments, and many other necessities. By the 1960s and 70s, in order to supplement family income, women began to work outside the house. Because of this, the birth rate declined again, and the family changed dramatically. Physical care and maintenance. Within healthy families, children, adults, and seniors all receive the care and support they need: food, shelter, clothing, protection, and so on. Socialization of children. Although there have been so much change, the nuclear family continues to be the dominant form of family. However, with the employment rate of women, the traditional family, in which the mother temporarily leaves the workforce to look after young children, and the dual income family, in which both spouses work full-time, have emerged. Childless couples are more numerous, not because of fewer couples are having children, but because couples can have fewer children and live long enough to become empty nesters when their children leave home. Okay, so now we know about the two out of the three families, the hunter-gatherers families and the contemporary families. And I can still say that the mothers were still the ones taking care of the children, taking care of the house, and disciplining the children. And the fathers were still the ones going to work outside the home. So let's go to the last family and see what they are like compared to the other two families. Social institution. A family is a relatively permanent group of persons linked together in social rules by ties of blood, marriage, or adoption, and who live together and cooperate economically in the rearing of children. Hence, the family is not only a biological but a social unit as well. Addition of new member. In present-day society, the family as a social institution primarily consists of parents and their children, but that does not mean a mother and a father. It could also mean a father and a father, or a mother and a mother. Children in this society don't always have to be blood related to the people in their family. Society renews itself through families. Most families have around 1 to 2 kids, at the most 3. Physical care and maintenance. Maintenance of family, moral and motivation to ensure task performance both within family and in other groups. In this regard, families provide the glue that holds society together and keeps it functioning. Beyond providing mere social control, Families, through love and spiritual leadership, inspire their members and others to keep trying. Socialization of children. Families prepare their children for life. Most do a fairly good job of it, teaching skills, values, and attitudes that equip them to learn, work, form friendships, and contribute to society. Being in a family provides children with a sense of identity. They learn the norms and values of their societies, as well as the norms and values of the smaller groups to which they belong. By learning about their cultural heritage, children gain a sense of belonging to something larger than themselves. By teaching children about their heritage, families ensure their culture will live on. Within families, individuals learn positive values and behavior and receive criticism for negative ones. Behavior control. Children of this society don't always have just their parents to teach them right from wrong. Families now hire people like nannies, babysitters. They send them to daycares and then bigger schools as they grow, in order for them to learn how to behave in other environments. Effective nutrients. Families now tend to be closer and more understanding of each other. They listen to each other and support one another. They still find the time to be with their children, even if it's only for a little while. Okay, now that we know about all three families, I'm sure you want to know what are the similarities I spoke of at the beginning. And I'm sure you've already noticed, but the similarities are known as gender roles. Out of the three families, the mother and the father take part in specific roles. And even though that these roles are changing and women are working outside their homes, we still find the gender roles still exist in this century. Just not as much as, say, the hunter-gatherer society. In this century, we find that men are more involved in the raising of their children. Thank you for joining me today in examining the functions of family through time. Have a great day and goodbye.